I'd like to introduce Sandra from the United States. Welcome, Sandra.
Thank you.
Could you tell us for what condition you take LDN?
I have lupus and rheumatoid arthritis and Sjogren syndrome and also Nash, non-alcoholic steatohepatitis.
When did you first notice symptoms for all these conditions?
It seemed to start around 1999. I started having, I had that Helicobacter pylori bug in my stomach. Mm-hmm. And from that point on, that's when I started having a lot of symptoms. But I don't think I really connected it to anything until a couple of years later.
Mm-hmm. So what sort of symptoms?
I ended up with, I had a lot of hair loss, and I noticed a tingling in my toes, like a numbness. Mm-hmm. That was the beginning of it in 1999, and then it kept getting worse. I ended up with a butterfly rash on my cheeks, and that tipped off the nurse practitioner that I might have lupus. But I had a severe memory loss and like a mental confusion. I would go to turn off the radio in my car while I'm driving and instead grabbed the key and almost turned off my car while I'm driving down the road. Those kinds of mental confusion problems. And then I had severe fatigue, dry mouth, dry eyes, dry perineum. My long bones would hurt really bad to the point where I couldn't move. Joint pain, burning in my jaw, and up the sides of my jaw to the ears. And I found out later that was my salivary glands. Severe urinary incontinence, intermittent restless leg syndrome, muscle spasms, and I had a weakness in my body trunk where I was incapable of standing at the kitchen sink for more than a few minutes to do dishes without losing energy and air for some reason. I'd have to sit and rest after a few minutes. So that's pretty much, I think I got all of my symptoms.
What medication were you offered at that time?
They started me with Plaquenil, and I ended up going into Enbrel, and I've tried methotrexate and a little bit of prednisone. Tried all muscle relaxers because I continually have muscle spasms. But none of it really truly worked more than like a 50%. They didn't seem to reduce my symptoms any more than 50%, if that.
So how long had you had these conditions before you found LDN?
It was a long time. I think they diagnosed me like around 2001 or 2, and I didn't start LDN until 2009.
Right, so that was a long time. And what were your diagnosis when you were finally told?
Well, first it was just the nurse practitioner saw the butterfly rash on my cheeks, and she's the one that said, I think you might have lupus. Let's take a blood test. And it came back positive for the lupus. Mm-hmm. And then they noticed my liver enzymes were going up and down. So later on I was diagnosed with Nash. And then it was probably only about 2 years ago that I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. And I think the initial blood test where they tested my ANA for the lupus, that's when they found that the Sjogren's was positive. So that would have been probably 2001 or 2 also.
Right.
So I've been up and down on a roller coaster.
Yes, definitely. So how bad were you by the time you found LDN?
It depended on the day. There were days I couldn't move. Some days I couldn't even wake up. But the pain, the joint pain and bone pain was extremely bad. But the LDN has taken all of that away.
How did you hear about LDN?
My father-in-law came down with, he had lung cancer. He found out he had lung cancer, and somebody had explained to him that this LDN helps lung cancer. So he looked into it and found out he was very close to dying already anyway. But when he got this information, he passed it on to me, and he said, I think this could be something that could help you. Mm-hmm. And that was the beginning of 2009, probably around March of 2009. And
right.
I did a lot of research from that point on,
mm-hmm.
and could not get a hold of anybody that would give it to me. And it wasn't until October of 2009 that somebody actually gave me a prescription for it finally.
And did you notice any side effects when you first started?
No, I've had no problems with LDN whatsoever. The only problems I get from it is if I don't store it properly, then it no longer works at all. And I found that out because I accidentally left it in front of a south window on my house, and it was sitting in a very hot spot, and the sun was shining on it and basically cooked it. And I found out from the pharmacist that it takes away its effectiveness if it gets too hot.
Mm-hmm.
So I've learned from there. I went ahead and got a new prescription after that, and all my symptoms went away again. The LDN took all my symptoms away within 24 hours. And the only thing that it did not work on right away was the joint issues, the joint pain and joint swelling.
Mm-hmm.
But as time has gone on, they seem to be almost 100% gone. I would say 98% gone by now. And it just gets better every day.
So how would you describe your quality of life now than before LDN?
Right now I'm normal. I'm not missing very much work. I feel like I've got my whole life back. Like I've never had any illness. I don't feel like I have an illness in any way. And the only time I have problems now is when there's a lot of stress. Then it's as if I'm not on any medication then. I go downhill with a lot of stress. And I'm under the impression many have that same issue, but it doesn't last long. As soon as I get my stressful situation calmed down and I handle it better, then I'm back to being okay. I'm no longer sleepy because stress makes me sleepy and the sun makes me sleepy. But once I get the stress figured out, I am fine. I'm back to normal. And the LDN, I have to say, when I stopped it for surgery, I had to stop it for 7 days, and all my symptoms came back probably by the 5th day. And by the time I was on the surgery gurney, my bladder incontinence was so bad that within an hour they had to change the sheet because you're not allowed to wear underwear or anything while you're laying there waiting for surgery. So they had to change the sheet and clean me up before they could take me back into the OR.
How awful.
It was, and within 24 hours after the surgery, I was able to start the LDN again, and 24 hours after that, all my symptoms were gone again.
I should think that was quite scary having them all come back and just praying that they would go again.
Yes.
I can imagine, yeah. Terrible. Well, that is just such an amazing story. What would you say to other people who are contemplating trying LDN?
Oh, if it's an adult, I personally feel, it's just my opinion, but I feel like they have absolutely nothing to lose by trying it. And I know it doesn't work for everybody. I understand that everybody's chemistry is different. Mm-hmm. But I don't think they have anything to lose by trying it, and it will change their life. They will go back to normal as long as their body chemistry accepts it, and they keep it stored properly with the proper temperature. That's my biggest issue, is the temperature. Mm-hmm. But if it's a teenager, I know they have a little problems with menstrual cycles when they have LDN, and then anybody younger than that, I can't give any advice on. I really don't know that. Mm-hmm. But I have heard that babies are even getting it for autism.
Yes, that's right.
And I've heard it's like a 0.5 milligram for babies and small children, and it's working well. Mm. So I truly believe this is a miracle medicine. I really do.
I haven't got any idea what Nash is.
Oh yeah, it is. Nash is called. It's an acronym for non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, and it's basically fatty liver, and it's
right.
from some people. They say a lot of people have Nash, but the problem with mine is that they aren't truly positive I have just Nash. They're kind of iffy on whether it might be autoimmune hepatitis. And it's all just liver. It's fat in the liver. Right. And my liver enzymes go up and down. And right now I'm taking vitamin E in the morning and night, and that is bringing it down. And for the first time in many years, I have my liver enzymes back down to normal. Yeah. But I had a liver transplant specialist tell me that it's just because I'm fat and eating fatty foods, but I know that's not true because I was in the military when I was about 21 or 22, and I was very skinny. I weighed only 128 pounds, and I was running 6 miles a day, doing calisthenics every morning, and I still had high liver enzymes. And yet they're down now, and I'm 50 pounds heavier than that. And they're down to normal right now. So it has nothing to do with my body weight. Mm-hmm. But according to doctors, this Nash, anybody that has Nash, your liver enzymes stay high until you lose weight. Mm-hmm. So I truly don't believe that's the true diagnosis. I think I have the autoimmune hepatitis. I just don't have that confirmed.
Right. Well, like I said, it's an amazing story, and thank you ever so much. I'm sure it's going to be of help to a lot of people who've got conditions similar to yourself.
Thank you very much.